Thank you, the incomparable Dennis Slaughter. Good evening.
Good evening.
It is my distinct pleasure and privilege to welcome each of you here this evening to Concord Baptist Church of Boston here in Milton, Massachusetts. I also welcome you on behalf of the Milton Interfaith Clergy Association. We've come to celebrate again the life of a great prophetic spirit, and that of the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who this year would have been 97 years old. We stand today some 58 years since he journeyed into the great light of eternity. And yet his words are still with us today.
Right.
Dr. King, prior to his death, said that we must all listen to hear the voice of the fierce urgency of now. There's no other time than now, even in America, and especially in America, that we need to hear the voice that speaks of justice and righteousness, the voice of the great Hebrew prophets who reminded us of our mutual and our individual responsibilities. So we are so delighted to welcome you. I told you last year that I am peacock proud to welcome you and hyena happy to welcome you here to Concord Church as we share this evening. Let's have a wonderful time in celebrating a great life, and in celebrating, let us also move forward and do something great. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Hughes. Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
We
Good evening.
are here to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Wanted to just give you a reminder, please, if you have any cell phones that are on, could you please turn them off or silence them so that we can continue to hear the incredible music and the speakers. We're here to celebrate a great orator, prophet, wisdom dweller, peace activist. A man who had the audacity to believe, even in deep despair, the hope for humankind in all peoples. He was the steward of beloved community, because that is what is going to help us, give us the strength we need to come into peace and justice and equity for all people. And he stewarded that beloved community. And that's why we're all here today too, to practice it, to deepen our ties, to celebrate together, to sing and laugh and sigh and see the wisdom of the great man, Dr. Martin Luther King. So let's enjoy.
I'm so glad that so many of you were able to make it. It's quite treacherous. There's ice out there. So we're going to start off, as we now have this long-standing tradition, to blow the shofar, which represents a call to action individually for when we see that things out in the world, things in our community need to be responded to. And one of the beautiful messages I think about the shofar and its call to action is that this is where you blow. This is what will put to my mouth to start the sound. And it's a very small hole right here. And yet, as it travels through, it can make a really big impact, a really big sound. So let's never underestimate what one small act, when one small word of kindness, reaching a hand out to one other person, what kind of a big impact that can make in their lives and in the world. And so to symbolize this desire to respond to the call for action, please rise. As you're able, please rise.
If you could look to your monitors, we have a video of Martin Luther King Jr. speaking.
Now I know that there are those people who are the victims of some strange illusions, and they don't believe in the necessity for continued protest. One illusion is a myth of time. They say, just wait and don't push things and be patient and pray and time will work this problem out. You've heard that, I'm sure. These people fail to realize that time is neutral and it can be used positively or negatively. We've seen this myth at work in the South. The fact is that the segregationists at points have made a much more effective use of time than some other sources of goodwill, even the federal government. And I am convinced that we may have to repent not only for the blatant vitriolic words of the bad people, but for the appalling silence of the good people. Talking about time. We must get rid of the notion that human progress rolls in on the wheels of inevitability. We must come to see that human progress is never inevitable. It comes through the tireless efforts and the persistent work of dedicated individuals, and without this hard work, time itself becomes an ally of the primitive forces of social stagnation. We must make it clear that the time to do right is now, and that the time is always ripe to do right. Now, the other illusion is the myth of educational determinism, as I call it. You've heard these people say, now you've got to change the hearts of men. That's the only way you can solve it, and I guess that's true. Solve it ultimately, and they'll say it takes education to solve this problem. It's an educational process, and therefore it can't be done through legislation. It can't be done through judicial decrees. It can't be done through executive orders by the President of the United States. It must be done through education. Now, I think it's right that education must work in this whole area, but it is both education and legislation, not either legislation or education. Now, it may be true that morality cannot be legislated, but behavior can be regulated. I guess it is true that the law can't make a man love me. Religion and education must do that.
It's a little cut off there, sorry.
Thank you. My name is Winston Daly, Vice Chair of the Milton Select Board. My partner in crime, Benjamin Zoll, currently Chair of the Select Board. I'll be reading our proclamation, and our Chair will have some words as well. Whereas Milton, Massachusetts is a community that benefits immeasurably from the diversity of its citizenry, and whereas all acts of subtle and overt racism and bigotry of any kind substantially undermine our community, schools, and the promise of equity and justice for all people, and whereas the civil rights movement of the 1960s had a profound impact on the course of American history and continues to shape the direction and debate of our society, and whereas one of the great leaders of that 20th century movement is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose message of unity and universal respect in the face of discrimination, racism, bigotry is essential to healing the divisions, strife, and inequities of our time, so that the future generations may live free and fulfilling lives. And whereas the Equity and Justice for All Advisory Committee was charged by the Select Board to advise the town on the best practices for promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion. And whereas we each have the power to make Dr. King's dream a reality by building bridges to different communities, listening deeply with open hearts and minds, changing our actions, and promoting a sense of welcome and inclusion. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Select Board hereby reaffirms its proclamation declaring the town of Milton as no place for hate and will continue to celebrate its diversity without the fear of intimidation or hate-motivated violence against any of its residents. We encourage residents to recommit themselves to Dr. King's dream and to engage in acts of service to others and to the community at large on this, the 19th day of January, the 97th anniversary of Dr. King's birth. Signed by the Select Board on behalf of Milton. Thank you.
Thank you, Winston. It turns out that was a strategic placement so that I didn't have to directly follow Dr. King, which I think would have been a bridge too far for any of us. I'm not going to take up too much time, and I'm very excited to hear later from our Representative Holmes his longer address, but I did want to share a few quick thoughts because I believe this is a time when Dr. King would have encouraged everyone to share a few quick thoughts about what's going on in our country. When I was reflecting on this day, I was reflecting on what we often heard from Dr. King, which were citations particularly from the book of Exodus. When I was a kid, I thought I understood the Exodus story. I thought it was pretty straightforward. God told Moses to go to the Pharaoh. Pharaoh let the people go, and they got out of Dodge eventually and got to the Promised Land. And then I think, you know, as we learn in our lives, we often return to those same stories that we hear, the same scripture that we've been listening to for our whole lives, and they can take on different meanings. And for me, the story of Exodus is a story that is incomplete and imperfect, and I think it's incomplete and imperfect for very specific reasons. It's imperfect because Moses was not perfect. Moses did not want to listen to God when God told him to go and help him free the Jews. He said, "Find someone else, Lord. I don't have the gift of gab, as it were." And I have to say, I feel very sympathetic to Moses in that feeling. And not only was Moses not perfect, obviously Pharaoh was not perfect, but even the people of Israel, when they were freed and in the desert, they were not perfect. They forgot how they'd gotten there, and they made a golden calf. Moses himself was not perfect at the end and was not able to get to the promised land. And in that incompletion and imperfection, that, I believe, is where the beauty of the story lays, because none of us will ever get to the promised land. But we may see it, and we may know it when we see it, and we may know that what we do in our lives will either help us on that journey or hinder us. And finally, on Exodus, it is a theme that is returned to again and again, and the Bible reminds us all that we were once strangers in a strange land. And I think right now a lot of us feel like strangers in a strange land, even in our own homes, when we see what's going on in places like Minneapolis and Chicago and Burlington, Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. But America is like the story of Exodus. We are an incomplete nation. We are an imperfect nation. Those who founded us were imperfect in many ways that we know, and in some ways that we may not. We have not yet lived up to our dream of being the promised land. But what we have lived up to, up until this moment, is to be the home for strangers. For everyone can look back at their history and say, I was once a stranger in a strange land. My family stepped off the boat and didn't speak English. My family stepped off the boat in chains. My family didn't step off a boat, but suddenly we found ourselves surrounded by strangers, and the land became strange. So let us remember what Dr. King teaches us, that the moral arc of the universe is long. It does bend towards justice, not without effort. And when we think about justice, we have to think about what are we doing for justice in this town at this time. To reflect on that, I talked to my best friend, who's actually a professor of South African history, specializes in apartheid-era history. And he teaches at the University of Kentucky, so if you think you're scared for your job, I'd like to introduce you to my friend. And he told me, you know, I asked him, I said, what can I tell people of Massachusetts? I'm a small town, part-time politician. I don't have a lot, of power or influence really over my own household, let alone the whole town. And he said, we talked about the Truth and Justice Reconciliation Committee that happened in South Africa. We talked about the Nuremberg trials of Nazi Germany. And then I thought about Exodus too, which is its own historical telling of a catastrophe, of slavery, of genocide. At that time, the Exodus time, they did not have cameras. They didn't have books, really. They didn't have ways of capturing this, no tapes, no videos. By the time apartheid era South Africa fell, we did have those tools. When the Nuremberg trials happened, we did have the evidence, not just from the oral history of those who had been subject to the violence, but photographs and videos. So when you're thinking to yourself, I can't do anything right now, remember that you can. Bearing witness is what we are all called to do right now at this moment. Bear witness for your neighbors, bear witness for yourself, take a picture, take a video, show up, because this will pass. And as Dr. King would have said, we don't know when this will pass. Time is not necessarily our ally in this regard, but we know that it will come to pass. And if we wish to see justice, we will need to have been witnesses to what has occurred. So please, think about Dr. King, take his actions and how he lived his life, try to embody it yourself, try to be a witness, try to stand up. It feels like a lot, but remember that we are all strangers in a strange land, and it's only together that we will get through this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. My name is Hall Kirkham. I'm the rector at St. Michael's Episcopal Church. And for many years, the town of Milton has given substance and action to Martin Luther King Jr.'s call for days of service. And on a day when we celebrate his memory and his birthday, the town of Milton steps forward. Through the Milton Interfaith Clergy Association and Courageous Conversations Towards Racial Justice, a bunch of folks went to bed last night watching snow fall, woke up in the morning to a beautiful New England landscape, lots of snow everywhere, and came out to Cunningham Hall, which had been out shoveling and plowing since 2 in the morning to make sure this event could go off and happen, our day of service, where we gathered to put together blessing bags, Ziploc bags filled with personal items, hygiene items, toothbrushes, toothpastes, deodorant and such. Gathering together, putting those together in assembly lines, and then going from there, fanning out across the city and across the region of Boston. So we probably had 31 people today, adults and children, out. And we'll have some pictures scrolling at some point. Adults and children out this morning putting these together. We had collected a bunch of completed blessing bags already in advance of this day because folks that couldn't come wanted to participate, wanted to be part of it. When you put a bunch of Milton folks together and you say, we're going to do this project of blessing bags and here's the material, they get to work, and they work fast. And in about an hour, we had planned for 2, we had everything done, and we put together probably 450 to 500 of these items that then went across and will go across to 11 different agencies across town, Mattapan, Quincy, Boston, and elsewhere. So it's a great privilege that I get to be part of all this with Karen Gross-Horan and with my siblings in the Clergy Association. And so thank you to the town of Milton that takes this stuff seriously, right? We not only celebrate the memory in a service, but we have a day of service when we put real feet and hands to the ministry of Dr. King. So thank you all that were there today. And I have the privilege of introducing the alumni choir of Tucker School that Brother Dennis Slaughter is going to lead, so you all are in for something very special. So, Brother Dennis.
Thank you so very much. We are excited to be here with you tonight. In years past, we have come as the Tucker fifth grade chorus, and this year, Tucker couldn't help us replenish that, so we had to go to Pierce School and get the alums who had already graduated and gone on. So they are the Tucker Alumni Choir. And we've just got, I need you to give me about 30 seconds to just do a little bit of arranging here, if you can. Just go with me. And then my dear friend, Brother David Smith is going to give us some rhythms while I'm doing that, okay? Is that all right? I'm so glad. Thank you.
Oh all done. We'll cry glory, oh glory, oh glory, oh glory. Psalm is now for every man, woman, and child. Even Jesus got his crown in front of a crowd. They marched with the torch, we gon' run with it now. Never look back, we done gone hundreds of miles.
Dark roads, he rose to become a hero. Facing the League of Justice's power was the people. Enemy is lethal, a king became regal. Saw the face of Jim Crow under a bald eagle.
Biggest weapon is to stay peaceful when we sing. Our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in the dream we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history.
No one can win the war and eventually we call victory the coming of the Lord. My eyes have seen the glory.
One day, when the glory comes, you'll be ours, you'll be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory, oh,
We knew you would want to get in on a little of it, so we're going to just sing it just for you, just glory. All you just got to do is say glory. Is it all right? I'm so glad. 1, 2, 3, 4,
To Brother Dennis and to the Tucker Alumni Choir, you all are so good. I mean, just so good. Thank you so much for sharing with us in that way. Thank you. My name is R.G. Wilson-Lyons. I'm one of the pastors at United Congregational Church here in Milton, and I have the privilege of introducing our keynote speaker tonight, State Representative Russell Holmes. Russell is originally from Mississippi, but attended high school here in Hyde Park, and since 2010 has represented as state representative parts of Jamaica Plain, Dorchester, Mattapan, and Hyde Park. He works as a financial planner and loves helping individuals and families achieve their financial dreams. And not only does he care about economic empowerment for individuals and families, but that's been much of his focus as a public servant. Russell chaired the Mattapan Economic Development Initiative beginning in 2007. He was instrumental in developing a new set of building codes to attract businesses to the area. As chair, Russell advocated for increased funding for public transportation in our community and advocated for the Main Street designation for Mattapan Square, which allowed our community to tap into needed funds to revitalize the Mattapan Square district. Before being elected, Russell was maybe best known for his efforts to bring the new Blue Hill Avenue Library to Mattapan, chairing the Mattapan Library Task Force and emceeing the groundbreaking in 2007. It was constructed in 2008. The $16.7 million building was Boston's first public library constructed in 6 years. But Russell understands that it's much more than a library. It's a community space, a living room for our area. And in addition to being a public servant, Russell is a Sunday school teacher, he mentors young people, and he is married to Cherie Holmes, who has devoted her entire professional career to education. So please join me in welcoming State Representative Russell Holmes.
Thank you. America today is a nation, as mentioned by the Milton Board, that is right now gripped in fear. It's a nation that is gripped in fear, and that fear is intentional. We have institutions that we thought were the foundations of democracy, models for the world, gone overnight. Foundations that were not foundations at all. We have Doge being established so they could come and look at our institutions, and then these institutions that we thought were the pillars of democracy, gone overnight. Pillars that were not pillars at all. We today are prosecuting former presidents, former Secretary of State, Federal Reserve chairs. We are invading Venezuela. We are putting tariffs on our allies, and we are appeasing our enemies. Now with the willingness to even think of putting NATO at risk with us invading Greenland. Our homeland is under attack. As mentioned, we have it so that we have 3,000 federal troops in the Twin Cities in an area that is accustomed to just 1,000 of their own police officers. And even beyond that, there is a thought of even using the Insurrection Act to bring even more to that area. We have attacks on our everyday lives, our health care, our workforce, and we are certainly deporting our neighbors. We are rolling back wins that we thought we had in civil rights and accomplishments over 60 years. Rights that are gone overnight, rights that were not rights at all. Pastor Hughes, these fears are being created intentionally. There is no doubt that this administration desires for us all to live in fear. It is clear that this administration sees and has a view of what is a red state and what is a blue state, and whether or not you are with us or whether or not you are against us. An administration that, of course, we all know the slogan is, "Make America Great Again." But it leads us all to have to ask the most basic question, when did you think America was great? It is clear from just some of the comments we've heard recently that civil rights hurt white people, that clearly this administration believes it was before the gains of civil rights, and certainly before the Immigration Act of 1965, an act that made it that we are much more diverse today, and certainly at that time the country was 84% white. I contend tonight that this country will never be as great as when only a few of us can succeed. I read your pamphlet for tonight as we were preparing my comments, and I think after all of those things, if you grapple with all of the things that we're dealing with today, it seems most appropriate to deal with the quote that we heard today and then that we read, and it is not the violence of the few that scares me, but it's the silence of the many. I am a son of the Deep South, very Deep South, born in a small town called Mound Bayou, Mississippi. It is the largest all-black community in the country, founded by formerly enslaved people who were found in this town in a time of very intense periods of lynching. a town when people are very poor, very, very poor financially, but we were very rich in values. I was born to teenagers, and in my younger years, raised primarily by my grandparents. I had very strong grandparents on both sides, and they were really the anchors of our community, postmaster, head of the American Legion, school teachers, and the like. However, this moment, this crisis, this time, harkens me back to a time and a day when one of my grandparents, my mother's mother, who we call Madir, was in great fear. Not very dissimilar to what many people are in fear today. This surprised me because as an 11-year-old, I had never seen our matriarch of the family, a mother of 12, a person who was the leader of our tribe. I had never seen her fearful in my life. It was on an election night, November 4th, 1980. We were, as I mentioned, I was raised in a town called Mound Bayou, but all around us was majority white. And this town was really a town that many people felt that once you got to Mound Bayou, you would really avoid any lynching. But my grandmother that night was afraid because we were not in Mound Bayou and it was starting to get dark. She told the person who was driving, and I can't remember back that far who was actually driving, but she said, "We have to get home before dark. We have to get home before dark." It was clear to me that my grandmother's fear was one that was ever present and one that I still remember today. She believed that night, and was right, that Ronald Reagan would be elected president that night, and that caused her great fear. For those who don't know, President Reagan had been just in August of that year, he had come to Mississippi to a place that had significant amount of deaths for black people, and sent the signal from our perspective that that was the alignment that he was going to keep. We got home, and I can still remember to this day my grandmother's face and the release and the relief that she felt when we had gotten home. Now, Dr. King viewed this fear, or fear in general, as just what he called a misuse of imagination. However, my grandmother, growing up in Mound Bayou, has much more than imagination that was causing her fear. Sure, she has seen the successes of things such as Brown versus the Board of Education, when separate but not equal. She has seen, of course, Rosa Parks, and being in the South, of course, we knew much about the Montgomery bus boycott. Little Rock is not far from Mound Bayou, so she certainly knew of the Little Rock Nine, certainly knew of Ruby Bridges and the little girls down in New Orleans. She knew certainly of all of the sit-ins that had happened in Greensboro, at Woolworth, and at Nashville. She certainly knew of the Freedom Riders and John Lewis and everyone who were on those bus rides. And of course, she knew of the civil rights bills that were passed in 57 and 60 and 64, and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. However, that was not what was driving my grandmother's fear. She also knew of the death and killing of Emmett Till. For those who don't know, Money, Mississippi is about 30 minutes from where I grew up. And when the trial was held about 42 miles from where I grew up, Emmett's mom, because of her safety, resided in my town, and that's where they did all of the strategy. So literally they would leave Mound Bayou, go to Sumner, have the trial, come back home. My grandmother knew of this clearly. She knew of the assassination of JFK, the assassination of Medgar Evers, who he and Merle, before he moved to Jackson and was killed, also resided in Mound Bayou for those same reasons of fear. She knew of, obviously, the assassination of Malcolm X, the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. Mound Bayou is exactly 100 miles south of Memphis, where the Lorraine Motel is and where he was killed. And she, of course, knew of the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy, who had just visited not soon before he had been killed with Marion Wright Edelman to see Mound Bayou and poverty. So her fear was not caused just by her imagination. Her fear was caused because she knew our history. So Dr. King, as mentioned, would often say, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. I can tell you in all the activities, other than that one night, my grandmother knew that. My mother was sincere, and she knew that this race and this struggle would be won by not those who thought of the race being swift, but those who endured. Take a moment here. I know I had mentioned Rosa Parks, but we also need to remember the passing this week of Claudette Colvin. For those who don't know, Claudette Colvin was a 15-year-old who had sat on a bus and refused to get off the bus about 9 months before Rosa Parks. There are many reasons why people feel like Ms. Colvin did not begin the movement. Some felt she was young, some felt she was too dark, but many just feel like the reason that they didn't make that move is because what happened was Ms. Parks had been a fighter in civil rights for decades, and it just seemed more appropriate. She passed away this week, and she is amongst the many, like my grandmothers and grandparents and many others, who were part of the civil rights struggle that many times are not remembered. So as I reflect on tonight's theme, I'm reminded most of the letter that Dr. King wrote to the Birmingham jail, from the Birmingham jail. I reminded there most because of the fact that, again, you saw the video tonight. One of the things that resonated loud and clear from that letter is that he really was concerned with the clergy that had written him that night and what he called the moderate white and the silence of those good people. So, of course, knowing that I was talking to clergy, I wanted to, of course, again, remind clergy at this moment that we need to be in the fight. But also in that letter, of course, he had said many times, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. But I also liked the letter because of the fact that it was one of those rare times that Dr. King, even as he wrote the letter, said, it's rare that you ever find a time, and him in particular, like everyone else in prison, when you're in prison, you have to meditate on your thoughts, have prayers, and as he says, write a long letter. And this opportunity to write a long letter gave us really a blueprint that I think we should use today as we deal with this moment. And the other thing also very important about this letter was that he said tension is not bad. We should make sure that as we get tense and as we get fearful in this moment, we should make sure that we use it in the right way. So, 4 steps. What I like about the blueprint is there are 4 steps that he said when he was being criticized by the clergy about what they called direct action at that time, which was a protesting. He says there are 4 steps that you take, and we should take them today as a blueprint. 1 is we have to identify injustice. 2 is, at that time, certainly negotiate. 3 is purification. And the 4th thing is, of course, then you get to direct action. I will comment on these, and then I will wrap up. I believe in this moment it is apparent that there is injustice everywhere. Pick a challenge. Pick one that you think is invaluable to you and the things that you want to be passionate about, and you know it is all around us. Do not view this moment as a time that you see things as being hopeless. Hopeless is what many people feel, but you are not helpless. There are many things that you can do even in this moment. Step 2 of before you get to direct action is that time you would say, let's negotiate. And certainly in the Birmingham letter, he talked about how they negotiated and they removed some signs, and then those signs went back up, and still blacks were not allowed to go and eat in many places. However, as I mentioned, this administration sees many things as a red state and a blue state. I do not believe that this is an administration we can negotiate with, and I can tell you for certain, silence would not protect you. We cannot believe that us tucking away and being silent, this administration you will be protected from this administration. The last 2 I want to spend a little bit more time on. 1 is purification. And at that time, what Dr. King was really talking about was how do you make sure that as you get attacked by dogs, as you become jailed or beaten, they train on how to still stay nonviolent even when other folks were being violent with you. He also, just like many others at that time, what we do today and what I heard about witnessing this moment, he also thought it was invaluable that he did things when it can get on the news. We need to make sure that at every opportunity we do the same even in this moment, as mentioned. He also made sure that he was educated. Some of the things that even came out in that letter were, and my challenge to you is, read the Constitution. Just read it. Know your rights, as we continue to say. Read the Bill of Rights. Read the Declaration of Independence. These are things that, for us in today's time, we're not threatened, many of us, by dogs and things of that nature, but knowledge will be what's invaluable and knowing what's right. Know what the Article 1 form of government is, who we in the legislature think is the most powerful form of government, not the Article 2 form or Article 3. Know what the 14th Amendment is. As folks today are challenged around, should citizenship exist for folks who are born here, know that it is citizenship that makes us all equal. Every one of us. You tear down the 14th Amendment, and you will tear down essentially all the things that you think are rights today. As Dr. King says, somewhere he read about freedom of assembly. That's right. Somewhere he read about freedom of speech. Somewhere he read about freedom of press. He then said, America, the greatness of America, is the right to protest for our rights. The right to protest for our rights. And as Dr. King wrote, or said even in that last speech, what I heard today, this country needs to be true to what it wrote on paper. And so if we know what it wrote on paper, we then can be able to move forward on our purification. Finally, on direct action. What I ask of us is, I know some of us may not want to go to the No Kings rally or whatever opportunities that there may be for us to be more vocal. Maybe you want to do this at work, but it is not a time to be silent. It is a time to make sure that you put your ideas into action. So whatever actions you put in, whatever these direct actions are, if you're not protesting on the streets and you're not choosing to do that, one of the things I ask you to do is I ask that you do things systematically. Make it so that you're putting things in place that are systemic. They live beyond you. Dr. King met with Eisenhower, he met with JFK, he met with Johnson. He made sure that things were codified in law, that they lived beyond him. Frederick Douglass, another leader, met with Lincoln and made sure, 13th Amendment, they made sure things were codified. Same, I'm honored to be in a role, as mentioned, as state representative. I've been chair of the Black and Latino Caucus. My relationship, as you know, Pastor Hughes was very close with Governor Baker. We needed to codify things, and that's an effort that I wanted to make sure things live, and when you're doing it, don't make it so that if you leave, this success ends. It needs to continue because it's systemic. Here are the three things I'm going to ask you to do besides read the Constitution, be systemic. One, vote. Please, I hear often, I'll stand in a community meeting and someone will be as loud as you can possibly be and as aggressive as you can possibly be about an issue. But I don't think they know we as electeds can go home and see if you actually vote. And there have been numerous times when people have been very aggressive to me in a meeting. I get home, put their name and address in, and they haven't seen a ballot box in 20 years. That is the one place that we are all still equal. One man, one vote. Do not take that for granted. I've seen where I've had to, unfortunately, in my neighborhood, go knocking on doors and skip house after house because we run what we call a universe to see who we're going to knock on doors. And when I skip house after house, it is because those folks we don't expect to show up and vote. And so when you have a conversation and say, well, no one ever comes to my house, no one listens, it is because we don't expect you to vote. So make sure you never lose your power there. I can tell you in the first term of this administration, in the midterm, there were 40 seats in the House that were lost. This administration runs this country as though he has a 40-seat lead in the House. There is 1 or 2 votes. There are 3 in the Senate. So if it's not Massachusetts, obviously many of us feel like there are 11 Democrats here. Pick up a car, drive, go to places that you think are important, in particular a state like New Hampshire. Second, your core duty is to go to jury duty. Many of us will get a jury duty pamphlet and be angry about getting it. Angry, want to throw it away. Can you tell me a better person to be in a jury than you? If you believe that this country, this judicial system is not fair, it is going to be less fair when you hide from your jury duty.
That's right.
It will be less fair. And so I'm just asking each one of you, when you get it, be thankful you got it. Because even though it feels as though we all are focused on one court, the Supreme Court, it seems like that is the whole conversation. But there are many courts before you get to the Supreme Court. And I can tell you this administration is losing hand and fist as he goes or they go through these courts. Not all of them means that I still need you to 1, vote, and 2, make sure you show up for jury duty. Third thing, and we will close here, I need to make sure that you understand the power of the press. I know the press and how we watch news today seems to be just funneled, and we find news that is typically just to our liking. We watch the channels that are just to our liking. 1, stop doing that. You need to know what other people are saying. We've gotten very narrow-minded in our perspectives. It is either you're on my team or you're not. But we are, you think back to our president in 2008, he says not red or blue states. It is the United States of America.
That's what he said.
And we need to, and that got us to a president who got 60 folks in the Senate and many, many folks in the House. Let us make sure, let's support, I don't know what the small newspapers here in Milton, but there has to be some. Let us support the Dorchester reporters, the Mattapan reporters, the small newspapers here. Let us do the basics to make sure that our press stays free and it stays powerful, because someone, not just us in our Facebooks, someone is going to need to document, as mentioned, the things of this time. So, you will be judged by what you do today. As I began this, I told you I can remember something from my grandmother from long ago. Your children, your grandchildren are watching you now. It is not about what history will look like in the future. It is about the history you're making even today. You have to understand that this is the moment that we've been built for. You, me, we've all been built for this moment. We have the baton. It is our time. And as Dr. King says, now is the time. Thank you.
Representative Holmes, we have been blessed by your presentation tonight. We've been challenged by it, and I don't know about you, but next time I get a summons, I'm gonna go to jury duty. All right. So we are thankful for all of you who've been with us and tonight, and we hope that you have been encouraged and enlightened thus far in our program. So we're gonna switch gears now and get some of our young people involved. Each year, Micah partners with the Dignity Project, which is a program out of Hebrew College, and we send individuals from the Milton area to a special program where they are taught how to be leaders, in particular how to be interreligious leaders, how to be cross-cultural leaders. One of the things that we do as a part of our King celebration is we also partner with Milton Public School System. And we have an essay contest where we challenge high school students to write essays around our theme. And we have 3 young people who are here tonight who are here to read for us their essays. And I'm going to ask that you come on down, use the podium downstairs, and read your essay. Before you read your essay, give us your name.
Hi, my name is Hadley Bergeron. I'm in 9th grade. Yeah. It's not the violence of the few that scares me. It's the silence of the many. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Violence isn't something that just happens towards people. While violence committed towards other people is completely inexcusable and must be stopped, there is another type of violence that is overlooked and overshadowed: environmental violence. Dr. King's aforementioned quote shows how detrimental silence can be when paired with violence, especially in this instance. There are vulnerable species of unique plants and animals suffering all around the world. Not only that, but the levels of the oceans that those species live in and around are rising beyond levels ever seen before. This tragedy is a dire and violent crisis that we can do nothing to fix if we are silent about it. It will only keep getting worse. If you were to ask the average person how many species have gone extinct in the past 25 years, many people would say a few, or maybe even none. They might say that extinction is a thing of the past. There haven't been any asteroids or ice ages recently. However, the truth is, there doesn't have to be. We are living in the middle of the 6th mass extinction in world history, and hundreds of species have gone extinct in the past 25 years. Yet, most people don't know it. Okay, but so what? 6 mass extinctions isn't that many for 4.5 billion years. While that may be true, there is something different about this mass extinction. It wasn't caused by natural changes in the environment that are bound to happen eventually. It was caused by climate change and global warming, both of which were caused by us. Every year, populations of the world's most vulnerable species are dwindling in silence due to climate change and global warming. We are standing by while some of the most unique and beautiful creatures on this planet are disappearing. It's not their fault they were put in these conditions, it is ours. It is our responsibility to fix what we have done, so why aren't we? Why aren't we trying with all of our might to save those who can't save themselves? Well, it's easier to say nothing and pretend it isn't happening. Global warming and climate change are also impacting a place that many people love, the ocean. Going swimming on a hot day, walking by and smelling the ocean breeze, it has a calming effect that nobody can deny. However, there is a more secret and violent side of the ocean that many people don't know about: sea level rising. Since 2002, Antarctica has lost almost 3,000 gigatons of its mass, according to NASA.org. And all of that water is melting into the ocean. That doesn't matter, you may say. That just means more ocean to swim in. No, that means less land to live on. These rising waters are slowly but surely overtaking and drowning land, precious land where people live. While the majority of the population may not care about this issue yet, as they do not live in vulnerable areas, other people do. Tuvalu is a small island nation in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It has a rich culture and history that is disappearing because the island is sinking. Many people don't think that a whole country could just vanish, but it is possible. It is happening right now. The sea levels around Tuvalu have risen to the point where it is no longer safe to live there. The country has had to enact a plan to evacuate its 11,000 inhabitants to live elsewhere, where it is safer. Small island nations like Tuvalu contribute the least to the climate change causing these rising sea levels. Yet they suffer the most. Other larger countries, who contribute significantly to climate change, have only recently started to help Tuvalu, but they have waited too long and so much has already been lost. This country is being destroyed, yet it lacks the news coverage and awareness that other countries facing different forms of violence receive. Tuvalu is being covered in water, But what's even scarier is that it's happening silently, just like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s quote. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hannah Ellis. It is not the violence of the few that scares me, it's the silence of the many. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Have you ever had a strong opinion about something? Have you ever thought that you wanted to do something that was going to make a difference? Now let me ask this question. Did you actually do it? Did you actually act upon that desire to change something? Or did you let yourself get stomped all over and remain silent because of fear? When a few people do something, there is impact. But there is a larger impact when a lot of people do nothing. Fear is causing us to remain silent and miss opportunities to change the world. Silence has a larger hold over the human population than ever imagined. Whether you have an opinion and you don't voice it because you are scared, or you have a belief that you don't think anyone will agree with, we stay silent out of fear, and it stops us from changing the world. How many times have you heard someone say, "Be yourself," or "Speak your mind," encouraging you to vocalize your thoughts? I know I have heard these encouragements countless times, not only from people, but also in the media all around me. While watching movies and reading books, the main character will have a whole realization moment and decide to speak up. I specifically remember watching Aladdin as a little girl, and when Jasmine sang the song about not going silent and raising her voice to be heard by people who didn't want to listen. I remember feeling like I was going to change the world someday. But silence took a hold on me as it did most of our generation and generations before. According to Populace, in private, 63% of Americans have admitted to self-silencing in the last year. Look at all of the evidence in the media telling us to stand up for what we believe in and be ourselves, and now explain to me why such a large percentage of the American population struggles with self-silencing. One person who embodied not being silent so well was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., as there are many times he decided to stand up for what was right without fear of being an outcast or facing hatred from other people. He stood up for what he believed in and did not remain silent. According to Dietrich Bonhoeffer, silence in the face of evil is itself evil. Those words literally mean that remaining silent when something is wrong is just as awful as doing the wrong thing itself. When we are not causing change with our words, silence causes us to do nothing. We become bystanders in a situation where we could have said something that changed the world. Silence has a large impact on us as it is becoming normal, which is something that is not okay. Have you ever thought to yourself about how you could change the world, or even a small part of the world, and then not done it? We miss opportunities to make the world a better place every day, and sometimes we don't even notice it because it is instinct to fall back and blend in with the crowd. When I was growing up, my family had a picture in our house with a Dr. Seuss quote on it. The sign read, "Why fit in when you were born to stand out?" And that has stuck with me. That picture called me into wanting to be myself and stand up for what I believe in, which is what I want to do for all of you today. I want to call you to action. I have already spoken on not remaining silent, but what is more important is that we do something about it. We can listen or we can act, and we need to choose to act. According to the Fordham Institute, we need to make a change to our world soon. I was in a chorus class a couple of weeks ago, and we were singing a song called Changes. The song was quite broad about what kinds of changes, so our teacher let us decide what we were singing about, and I had to think about what I wanted to change before performing. I couldn't decide specifically what I wanted to think about, so I decided to go with the topic of making the world a better place. Then I started to think about what that meant and thought about how to do that. It can be hard to change the world, but we can do it one step at a time. Gandhi once said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." These words are the simple way to put it. You need to start by changing yourself, so remaining silent is not going to change the world. Each person has something they want changed or made better, and instead of doing something about it, we are conquered by fear of rejection and of it not working, and we remain speechless. So now I encourage you to change this part of our lives, the part that is scared of doing nothing. Because if all of us do our part, we can change the world.
Hello, my name is Matt Tuttrell. I'll be reading my essay, No More Silence. So, there's a common misconception among people that if there's something unjust that we see happening, but we're not affected, that we really don't have to do anything about it. but this conception is wrong, and it's very far from the truth. I like to think about it this way. When you're young, you don't know much, but how you learn what is right is wrong is how the people around you react. If they have positive reactions, you'll want to continue to do what you're doing. But if they have negative reactions, you'll try to stop. But if they don't notice it and they don't react, it's just always based on how it makes you feel. If you like the way you feel, even if it's something bad for you, you'll continue doing it unless someone stops you early enough. And when no one stops you, then becomes a bad habit that's hard to break. This fact remains no matter how old you get. Even though we know better what is wrong, because no one has told us to stop, we choose not to. And if we continue to let people do things that are wrong, they'll no longer find satisfaction when they do it in small ways, so they'll make their actions larger and larger. We need to stand up against injustice before it becomes too difficult for us to stop. Martin Luther King Jr. once described that it's not the violence of the few that scares me, it's the silence of the many. What I think he meant was that he's less scared when people take violent actions against injustice than when he sees no one take action at all. Today, we constantly see updates in the news about what ICE has done. And we talk about how horrible their actions are to these people. Some who thought the U.S. was the land of opportunity, and some who shouldn't even have been deported, but were based off their race. According to a New York Times article published in December, around 23,000 people are removed from the U.S. by ICE every month. But you might be thinking, why would this affect me? I have all the proof I need, and maybe I'm far from the places that are affected. And while this may be true for many, there's another thing that could be true if we continue to let injustice happen with ICE. I may be a little over-exaggerating here, but what will happen, the government will start to realize, is that we're scared to stand up, and they will expand their injustice. Just imagine it this way. You're taking a walk through city, trying to go to maybe to a dinner reservation you made, and all of a sudden, you're getting arrested because you're near the site of a robbery, even if it may have happened many weeks ago. Or you're accused of a terrible crime because you were seen conversing with the family of those who were affected. Like I said, these might be over-exaggerations, but it gives us an idea of what could happen if we continue to let injustice grow. And while there are many people who are already standing up against ICE, but not many yet. But another thing that in my experience, less people stand up for is bullying. Bullying is very serious. It can cause physical, mental, and emotional damage that can last a lifetime. And the worst part, it's most common in schools with children and adolescents who are extremely vulnerable to these types of damage. When I was in middle school, I witnessed a fight from a distance with one kid who was confused and couldn't fight, as we would call the victim, and another kid who was enjoying getting free hits, in other words, the bully. There are many people who saw the fight. Some who were closer, some who were farther, some were my friends standing right next to me. No one encouraged him, but no one tried to get him to stop. I'm guilty of being a bystander myself, but the point is that if someone stuck up for him, the story could have been different. With our story, the victim could be scared to leave the house, knowing that the bully wants to bully him over and over. Meanwhile, the bully hasn't learned his lesson and terrorizes more and more kids. And still, because no one stood up before, no one tries to stand up, and the bully never learns. But if, let's say, people did stand up, the bully would no longer try because he would feel unrewarded knowing that people would stand up against him. The victim wouldn't be scared, and he'd probably have befriended those who stood up for him. And everyone who saw those bystanders become upstanders be inspired. So even if someone new decides to start bullying, there'd be more people who would be willing to stand up against it. Thank you.
Let's give all three of our young people a round of applause. Very good essays. I've made copies of the essays, so as they were reading, I was reading right along with them. Now, I realized when I sat down that I asked the students to do something that I didn't do. And so I asked them to introduce themselves before they read the essay. I realized I didn't introduce myself when I started talking. So my name is Maurice Davis, and I serve as the minister of the Bedford Street Church of Christ, formerly the Church of Christ in East Milton Square. I'm going to ask the high school chorus if you guys will come on down and get prepared to sing. So each year when we have our annual MLK program, one of the things that we do is to take up an offering to help us defray the cost of sending these young people to the Dignity Project. It is a program that starts in the summer and it goes throughout school, and they are immersed in a lot of classes and discussions and opportunities to interact with a diverse group of young people in their peer group. And so whereas we send representatives from Milton, there are representatives that come from many communities surrounding Boston. And so our young people get an opportunity to meet with peers in other locations and exchange ideas, and then they're able to come back and share their information at the high school here in Milton. And what we have seen is that they come back encouraged, they come back with a wider understanding of how to get along with and work along with diverse individuals. And so we're going to take a collection at this point. We're going to ask the attendees to help us once the group starts singing. And we want you to give generously. If you're going to give by check, please make the check out to Micah. And of course, if you have cash, that's wonderful. But again, thank you for whatever donations that you give to support this great work.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hello. We are members of the Milton High School Chorus, and today we have brought to share with you a song that we feel really resonates with the message of tonight's program of not being silent and spreading our voice about the community, because it is a song that is meant for community participation. It is a song called Lead with Love that was written in 2016 by Melody DeMore, a vocal activist, songwriter, and composer who really felt that through music you can capture the values that can help lead a community. Similar to this song, which has a very simple melody and counter melody, and then a call and response section that really lends itself to something that the whole community can help make into a very powerful experience. So first, we're going to teach you all the melody, so if you would like to sing along, you can go ahead. And then the second section, which you will hear in the song, is just a call and response. So we have three amazing soloists, Javon, Shannon, and Nico, and they will come up to the mic and sing a solo, the call, and you can all respond with the same line. Hopefully, you can all get the gist of that in a second. But let's start with the melody. So it goes like this. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Okay, do you think you all can try that? Let's see. Maybe you can sound better than us. I don't know. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. And now, so we're going to add a challenge. whenever the melody comes, we're going to count on you to sing that, and then a few of us are going to be singing a counter melody. So just to see what it sounds like, let's try that, where let's keep singing the melody, and the amazing singers behind me will sing the counter melody. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Wow, you all are already sounding amazing. Great job. Give it up for yourselves. And now we're going to get started with the real song, and I hope you all enjoy. Great job, everyone. That sounded great.
would say amen to that. I would say hallelujah. That's the highest praise. Now I have the privilege of having you, those who can stand with me. You're going to be fully participated in this No Place for Hate resolution of respect. My name is Reverend Dr. Geoffroy Fleur-Guissin, pastor of Total Health Christian Ministries in Milton, a Haitian-led church. Pleased to be with you. So in your program, you have the word, and you're going to go along with me. We're going to read together as we are in a church. This is the night that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Let's start it. I pledge from this day forward to do my best to combat prejudice and to stop those who, because of hate or ignorance, would hurt anyone or violate their civil rights. I will try at all times to be aware of my own biases and seek to gain understanding of those who I perceive as being different from myself. I will speak out against all forms of prejudice and discrimination. I will reach out to support those who are targets of hate. I recognize that respecting individual dignity, achieving equality, and promoting intergroup harmony are the responsibilities of all people. By marking this pledge, I commit myself to creating a Milton community that is no place for hate. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, Pastor Kiki. My name is Megan Strauss, and I serve as the Associate Pastor at United Congregational Church in Milton. And we know that that resolution was really important for us to make, and we need each other to hold each other accountable to things like this. We've been charged with a lot today. So let us look around the room. Let's look around the room and see who here will be supporting us as we go out tonight and endeavor to make this world a more just place for all. Let's join together in this charge to all who are gathered here tonight. Let us find that common knowledge that life is a gift to all. Humanity is called to evolve to a deeper seeing. Let us find our inborn wisdom of the dignity of being. Humanity is called to evolve to a wider knowing. We have the choice to find ourselves capable of change. Humanity is called to evolve to brave the unknown. We have the choice to find our neighbors as worthy of love. Humanity is called to evolve to a bolder compassion. There are social systems which keep us from beloved community. Humanity is called to evolve to a clearer understanding. Before it is too late, we must reject revenge, aggression, and retaliation. Humanity is called to evolve to be a vibrant, resilient peace. Before it is too late, we must defy the disease of fear. We are one humanity, color-rich, blessedly diverse, full of wisdom. May we find each other. May we find ourselves. Amen.
Hello, mic check. Okay. What's going on, everybody? Hello. So my name is David Smith. You've seen me over here doing some drumming and things of that nature. Wow, that's bright. But right now, we're gonna switch gears a bit. I'm gonna be doing a rap song, so that's gonna be pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah. So you guys gotta help me out, though, okay? Yeah, you guys gotta help me out. So it's super easy. You just gotta say one word. You just gotta yell the word king. Can you do that? Yeah, right. So that's pretty easy. But rap is rhythm and poetry, so I'm gonna actually do it poetically first, and then we'll get into the song. Because since everything that we've been talking about today, this is really important and heavy stuff. And I did a good job writing the song. And sometimes when we're performing it may be a little bit hard to understand and get all of the words. So like I said, I'm gonna do it in poetry form first, then we'll do the song but I will need some participation. I think that's another theme that's going on right now. And like I said, it's really just one word. You know, the chorus of the piece is, if you ask me what I want to be a king. And then you guys can just yell the word. King. Exactly. You ask me what I want to be a king. Ask me what I want to be a king. Ask me what I want to be a king. Ask me what I want to be a king. Ask me what I'm gonna be a king. Skin got the melanin. Many men have made it to the top, and I am one of them. Glory be to God. And Lord, forgive me for our sinful ways. Time to raise the bar. Time to be a king. Time to be a king. Time to be a king. Buildings built off the backs of our people, making billions, resilience, we had to have it. The story could have been tragic, but triumph is what we saw, and we continue to see a sea of melanated people flying high as can be. Stories society may never hear of all the sacrifices made just to get us here, moving without fear, with intelligence, without fear. With God as our guide, we let the spirit inside, and that's why we always rise. So if you ask me what I want to be a king. All right, so that was the poetry form. Now we're going to get into some music. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Hey. We get some volume? Yeah. We're going to have some fun, right? Hey. I wanna be a king. Hey, ask me what I wanna be a king. 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 Ask me what I'm gonna be a king. Skin got the melanin, many men have risen to the heights, and I am one of them. Glory be to God, and Lord forgive us for our sinful ways. Time to raise the bar, time to be a king, time to be a king, time to be a king. Beautiful kill them billions, resilience, we had to have it. The story could have been tragic, but triumph is what we saw. We continue to see a sea of melanated people just flying high as can be. Hey, sorry society may never hear of all the people that have God, and that is how we got us here. And now we're moving without fear. God is the God, spirit inside, and that's why we always rise. Hey, so ask me what I wanna be a king. 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 Hey, thank you. That was fun.
In just a moment, Reverend Lisa's going to come and give our benediction. But before she does that, I wanted to let you all know that Lisa has been the president of Micah for the last several years, and Lisa is retiring at the end of June. This will be Lisa's last Micah service as a Milton clergy person. So I just want to, on behalf of Micah and on behalf of all of us here, express our appreciation to you, Lisa, for your leadership as our president over these last few years. Will you join me in showing our appreciation?
So, let's rise up. Let's speak up. Let's act up. Let's get ourselves home to justice before deeper days and despair takes us down. Let's get ourselves home to freedom before fear overtakes us.
All right.
Let us get ourselves home to one world before hatred tears us apart. We can do this, all of us, to rise up, speak up, act up. Thank you for coming today. Amen.
Brother Dennis. So we wanted to remind you, we have refreshments available in the fellowship hall. So if you want to go out that door and enjoy the refreshments as we conclude, thank you.